What's vibrating right now?
It
All right,
sounds
we're
like
live.
music.
We are live. Let's do
You hear
this.
that
Hold on a
music in
sec.
the background?
Yeah, we gotta do the music. All right, everybody be quiet. I gotta hit record and hit the thing at the same time. And we're back again with another edition of My Thai Happy Hour.
Woo!
Why did you do that, Hambone?
Because I pop the mic at the beginning of every show. It's tradition.
But you know you make us look so lame when you do that.
Well, then you should figure out how to master the levels to match all this excellence.
That is so... I just don't understand why you do that.
Every single
And
time.
you see you're moving far away and back and
I
forth.
am right in the same spot I was in 2 minutes ago.
You're ruining the show again.
You ruined the show.
Which is why we needed to bring in the most beautiful, abnormally gorgeous man in the entire world.
Ken Lucas?
No.
Oh, that's me. I'm sorry. You're talking about me.
We're talking about you.
Like you're not in the room, Joshy.
I know.
We have Joshua Goldfarb in the house.
I somehow want this to follow me as I'm walking into every room ever.
Like when you go to 7-Eleven to get a churro.
Exactly.
What's really funny is I don't think, and no one else can hear it. So just so you guys know, we are attempting to do a live 360 broadcast right now.
Oh, wow, the camera's on?
We are live to the people at home, I think. I don't actually really know.
Well, it's a good thing I combed my hair tonight, isn't it?
Yeah,
Thanks for the heads up.
Well, I had to. I was hoping that maybe, you and 360 would, 360 ultra wide angle, 360 wide angle makes it's thinning.
Is it thinning?
It's thinning.
Is it like a double negative? Like it thins
Completely.
me out?
It's gone so far.
Do I have cheekbones suddenly?
It goes so far, it goes all the way around. Yes, we are live right now. I actually see us. We can spin us around on here.
Oh, Lord.
Nobody's actually watching except for probably me because I'm sure something's screwed up. But I see us. Look,
That's fun.
We're in 360.
Wow.
Creepy.
Yeah,
That
that's really
is-
creepy.
I don't know
Yeah.
how I feel about
I
this.
do not think I have anywhere near enough life. Oh, someone's texting me, which means this is probably not going well. No, that's probably my chimney guy. So do you guys want to hear about chimneys?
No.
Who wants to hear about chimneys and boilers? No, we don't, because we have one other person we still have to introduce.
Yes.
And that's the Lord of Darkness, the Master of Evil, the greatest semi-co-host, kind of not really special guest. I think we're
I think it's time to promote him.
Panelists.
We've realized that
You're more than a panelist.
I think Ken Lucas. Someone just screwed up the levels really bad. It wasn't me. I can only believe it's only one person. Ken Lucas, who is our Heather Locklear on Melrose Place.
He really is.
Like, you really are.
Thank you.
It's
The
like
hot chick you want to bang?
no, the permanent
Josh,
guest star. Permanent guest star.
Only the ladies, though.
Oh,
Only the ladies.
that's exactly what I was thinking too. Sorry.
Thanks for always having me. I have a correction from last week's episode. I said,
Do you now?
I said Hair of the Dog was by Thin Lizzy, but actually Hair of the Dog is by Nazareth and is off this 1975 album. Hair of the Dog. Just want to make that correction.
thanks,
Come
man.
correct.
Wasn't it also covered by Guns N' Roses?
It
on the
was.
Spaghetti
That was
Incident?
Spaghetti Incident.
Yeah, it was.
That was the reference last week.
Stupid shit I know that I shouldn't
Thanks
know
for
about.
having me as usual. You guys are the greatest.
Oh,
I also
buddy.
want to thank all the haters this week because without them, we wouldn't be as great as we are.
Without the haters, without you, there would be no us.
Thank you.
Without you, there'd be no.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, just once again, a reminder for everybody to rate, review, and subscribe to our show. Nobody has.
Well,
so
my buddy Steve has.
No, he hasn't.
He has.
Unless he did it on Android, because it's not on iOS.
I think he did it on Android.
There's no. I go to Google Play Store. Who listens on the Google Play? I don't think Google Play has a podcast. I
They
don't know.
might.
I have no idea what he's reviewed us
I'm on Android and I don't even know.
Yeah, I have no idea.
seriously.
iOS people,
Stitcher.
iTunes is the only place we can go, so we can get more awesome sponsors like Zot, which we'll get to later. By the way, just so you guys know, this camera, this 360, is brought to you live by Zot. This is the Zot camera.
The Zot's cam.
If you just take your 360 and roll it down, you will see the Zots, and that's what they're paying for.
Break
It's
it
this
down.
Yeah, buddy.
Great bowl of Zots right here.
So good.
I don't know what else to say about that other than thank you, Zots, for being such a great sponsor. Hopefully
Thanks,
one
Zots.
day we will get Spotty Potty back again. I don't know when.
You just call it the Spotty Potty, which is very different.
Yeah, and that's why they're not sponsored anymore.
The Spotty Potty is for women that time of month, right? Is that what it is?
George!
I mean, I don't know what else the Spotty Potty would be for.
Wow.
I think Josh is choking right now on camera. It looks really good. I'll focus on you on
For
360.
weightlifters.
Please do.
Yeah.
Spotty Potty.
I mean,
weightlifters.
oh my god.
Wow.
It's way funnier when we're talking about women. Which we love, by the way. I would never say that meanly. Anyway, we got a great show for you today. So this is going to be our second.
Whoa. What am I? Chopped liver?
What do you mean? You want to do what's on the show today? You always hate doing it. You forget what's on there.
You didn't introduce me.
He acts like he doesn't like it.
Fuck.
You didn't introduce me.
I am the worst person in
I'm
the
the
entire
co-host.
world. I completely forgot to. I mean, I don't know what I forgot. Playing your theme song right now, Hambone. She's crafty. So just so you know, one of your ex-girlfriends reached out to me again in the DMs, slipped right into my DMs this week. Instagram only, though. It's weird. They only do Instagram. And asked me if I think she's crafty. Like didn't ask me anything else. She's like, am I crafty? And I said,
Wow.
and I said, I'm not going to comment on this. And then promptly
Who is
stop.
that?
No.
I'm even respectful. Stop popping the thing. Don't get angry. When I say check the levels, check the levels.
I did
Don't
check the levels.
That's
I
your
did the
upset,
George.
crafty
I
girl
did the
voice. That's the upset crafty girl
George.
voice. George. Anyway, I told her that you were. I told her that she was not crafty. But she was. She's very crafty.
But now she's listening to this
Now
and she's
she
going to
knows.
know it was a ruse.
But the thing is, I have at least one of your ex-girlfriends reach out to me like every other week, every third
So
episode.
now
every
they all think that.
there's no way around it. I mean, it's just like
If you got to ask if you're crafty,
you're probably
You're probably crafty.
yeah. So there's that. Anyhow, we are going to talk today about this is going to be the second installment of our punk rock canon. If you guys remember, last month we introduced it by trying to get the Offspring Smash into the punk rock canon.
Did not go well.
Failed miserably.
Oh,
did not
boy.
go well.
Maybe I should have thought about it a little more. Maybe I should have thought that, the greatest band in the world maybe does not really cater to everybody.
I was thinking back about it, and I think that maybe we should have started off with a softball, like a Ramones record.
But that's a problem. We
Right
should.
over the plate.
But nobody wants to start with a softball. It's like, okay, the Ramones, I'm actually going to be...
What's the debate?
the debate is going to be which Ramones album, because only one album can get into the punk rock canon.
Oh, Animal Boy.
Well, I would argue that it is End of the Century, but that's going to be...
No, you're just... I mean, I said mine as a joke. You're just an idiot.
It's good.
Wow.
End of the Century is not the... It's
Goldfarb
not.
just showed up.
Tonight, our guest host, the Semitic Zeus,
Superman.
Semitic Superman.
Alliteration, the Semitic Superman.
I think that works. The Semitic Christopher Reeves. He
Semitic and living and walking.
we are all going
There
to
you go.
hell after this episode. Just so you guys know, we are live on Facebook Live, so people are actually watching us right now and hearing everything we say, even
So
though...
they're going to hear when I talk about how when Christopher Reeve was getting rehab in West Orange at Kessler Institute, myself and a bunch of other of our friends from high school drove through the parking lot of said institution screaming, "Who's flying now, fat ass?"
Oh, that is the worst thing you have ever said.
Josh, you're
Yeah.
a terrible person.
You are a
It
terrible
was
person.
funny at the time.
You are so mean and so cruel.
Wow.
But that's why we love you.
It was pretty fucked up.
You
Anyway.
don't deserve your luck.
Send all hate mail to Josh.
So Josh picked for us tonight. What is that noise? Do you hear that
it's
noise?
probably a plow outside or something.
Oh, that's you think it's a plow outside?
I don't know.
It just stopped and went away.
Because you had... Oh, is it a vacuum?
Was someone? Do you think
No.
someone's vacuuming upstairs?
Let's just...
Sounded a bit
It's only in
industrial.
my ears.
I
It's
know, I
only
heard
in
it.
my ears. I don't know. It's gone now.
It's gone now.
That's great. We are clearly professionals on the show. Anyway, Josh came here. He brought us an album. He said T.S.O.L's Dance With Me. Actually, he picked some really weird... He picked Weathered Statues or something.
I picked Beneath the Shadows. It's a good album. Whatever.
Probably would not make it into the canon.
Absolutely not.
Especially if we vote on it like you all will do today and this week. So we are going to do Dance With Me, quintessential punk goth album of all time.
Absolutely.
Follow up to their very political T.S.O.L. EP. Very strange that they went that route, but we are going to be talking about that. You will vote on whether that's going to be in the punk rock canon this week or this month. We are also going to talk about, we want to get Josh's thoughts on, and all our thoughts on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominations, which are nominees, which are now
Inductees.
Fuck that shit. Like, I'm so not happy about this. We will also be talking about our most interesting, strangest, worst concert experiences.
Oh boy.
And we are going to touch a little bit on the new Philip K. Dick Amazon.com, Amazon Prime show, Electric Dreams, which is a follow-on to Man in the High Tower and the other Amazon Philip K. Dick shows that they've been doing recently.
Do they buy all the rights to everything Philip K. Dick, or is that just their move?
They do the Total Recall remake.
That's fair.
That is fair. Anyhow, we are going to start it all off, though, with another Hambone hangover cure.
So I'm still calling it Hambone's Little Helpers, even though you vetoed the song that you created. Hambone's Little Helpers, Hambone's Little Helpers. This is
Hambone's Little Helpers.
Hambone's Little Helpers. This is my my next hangover cure, and as we are rounding out the month, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about a hangover cure, and also going to talk about the drink that you should be drinking if you are past the hangover cure and you're starting to want or need to drink again. So today is what I like to call an alkaline emergency.
Alkaline.
Alkaline emergency.
Alkaline like battery acid?
It kind of tastes like battery acid as it's happening, but it'll set you right. So what I realized as I got a little older was sometimes the Pedialyte in the Red Bull was a little too much. I also tended to notice that after a bender, I'd start to feel a little under the weather. So to remedy all of this, what I would do is get a rocks glass, fill it up with about 3-4 fingers worth of water, dump in 2 Alka-Seltzer tablets, and a pack of Emergency, dealer's choice on the flavor. I prefer orange myself, and I would slug that back as fast as possible. It would help me with the heartburn, it would help right my stomach, and also give me a dose of vitamin C that I really needed to help me on my way through the day and also to avoid getting sick.
Do you know what else vitamin C is great for?
What is it great for?
It's great for curing the gout.
It is great for curing the gout. That's good.
Did we ever talk about my grandmother's gout?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't remember most of the first 32 episodes. We were drinking
my
the entire
grandmother
time.
had the gout a lot. She was a former pirate or something. I hear gout is very popular with the old people and pirates. Peg legs.
Well, that's a citrus fruit to get away with scurvy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So my move now is that if you're at that point where you're ready to start drinking again, or maybe want to take the edge off a little bit, we, as a podcast and as a group of friends, cannot speak highly enough about brunch. Brunch is the
most
best.
important meal of the day.
It's the most important meal of the day. And brunch, I always recommend getting a high-fat meal, definitely some bacon, getting some pancakes to help you soak the stuff up. And I'm a big fan of the mimosa. Now, the mimosa is great because it is a breakfast drink. It's also alcoholic, and it's that nice entry point from the hangover cure to drinking again. It's kind of like trying to steal second base. So we're going to go with a...
Like cop a feel?
Trying to get to from first base to second base without getting pegged out by the pitcher. Baseball, sports ball. I don't know about sports. So we're going to talk about Esquire Magazine's recipe.
I thought you were referring to sex.
Me too.
Your mind always goes to sex.
I knew he was talking about baseball.
Thank you. The first, 10 or so episodes, you kept talking about putting things up my ass, and that's neither here nor there. So we're going to go with the Esquire Magazine way how to make a classic mimosa. And this is something I'm really high on, which is always more champagne than they give you when you go to a wedding reception. So it's going to be 4 ounces of brut champagne, 2 ounces of orange juice, and a teaspoon of Grand Marnier. Now, you can get away with triple sec as well. I do prefer the Grand Marnier. It's a very specific flavor. Now, another thing that I'm very fond of is if you're just over the standard mimosa, you could also mix in a half ounce of either peach schnapps or Chambord to kind of add to the flavor, give you a little flavor of something different. So that, my friends, the Alkaline Emergency and what I like to call the Mixed Mimosa Challenge is your Hambone's Little Helper for the week.
That is awesome, Hambone. Do you want to know what I don't like this week?
What?
Boilers.
Oh, you're back on the boilers.
So we just get the update in?
Sure, go
It
for
is
it.
now week number 3. Our boiler is shot. I've got 3 boiler guys that are nipping at my heels for me to sign a contract so they can change my boiler out for like 10 grand or whatever the hell it costs. And I can't find a chimney guy. Did we talk about the chimney last week?
Talk about your chimney.
The chimney flue is too small for the chimney.
Right.
Santa can't get down. It's a weird coding violation, which, fuck, I don't know. And I can't get a guy to come and take
Gotta
over
get
chimney.
Dick Van Dyke in.
Gotta get Dick Van
There
Dyke.
are no chimney people anywhere that like will come to my house when it snows. Chimney people don't like cold. They don't like snow. They don't like anything. They don't like money.
I think we should rename this podcast to Punk Rock This Old House.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's basically
Because-
how I feel right
That's
now.
all you've been talking about for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Well, we're freezing in my dining room right now.
I feel rather okay.
I am
Fine.
very,
Doing all right.
very, very upset with right now. Sorry. So let's talk about something that's a lot more fun.
All right. How about the punk rock canon?
Let's talk about the punk rock canon. So who's going to kick this off, Hambo? And since I failed miserably last time, would you like to kick this off?
Well, you know what we're doing is we're putting a list together of all the greatest punk rock albums. There's one per band. They either get in or they don't. It's kind of like a time capsule. Like if you were to come from the 31st century and look back at punk rock, we want to give you punk rock records that are specific to a time and a place that really meant something either to a lot of people or changed the genre just by existing. So this week's punk rock canon record was something that is not what Josh wanted. He wanted the other T.S.O.L. record. We're going with something that might actually have a chance of making it in. T.S.O.L's Dance With Me album.
He wanted Hit and Run.
No.
No?
Absolutely not. I hate Hit and Run.
You wanted Revenge.
I love Revenge and I,
I
love
love
Change
Revenge
Today.
too.
So Dance With Me is the first full-length album by T.S.O.L. It was released in 1981 and then re-released in Epitaph by Epitaph Records in 1996 and then again by Nitro Records in 2007. It is best known for its necrophilia-themed song, Code Blue.
It's a good song.
It's a great song.
It's a fantastic
so look,
song.
I went back this week and I found the first time I interviewed Jack Grisham. The year was 1996, but it was before anybody had re-released any of the TSOL stuff. So I only knew Jack Grisham, the lead singer of TSOL, for his work in The Joy Killer,
Which you loved.
which I loved, and
You're a
I
fan.
still think it's a great. Those first two albums are fantastic albums on Epitaph Records at that time. So I had no real concept. I knew who TSOL was. I had heard the cover of Code Blue by the Bouncing Souls on the Punk Rock Jukebox #1 album, but I never really knew much beyond that because there's no way to hear it. There's no Spotify. It was 1996. There's barely the internet. So I had to interview him, and I think I opened up the interview with like, "Hey, so you're the guy from The Joy Killer who was also in TSOL. You're kind of famous. I don't really know who you are. Do you want to just talk?"
That sounds about right for a George interview.
Yeah.
We then sat on the corner of St. Mark's and whatever the street is over there. It was right after a gig at Coney Island High, and we sat there while homeless people assailed us for 2 hours. And I can't believe the shit I told this guy. I asked him, he kept talking about how broke he was before the Joy Killer and how broke and how he lost all his money because TSOL like blew him off and ditched him and went and became big with his like brother-in-law or something.
His brother-in-law.
And he and I was asking him, so like how broke are you? He's like, I'm living with my mom and I have a daughter. I'm like, wow, that's pretty bad.
That's
I'm
pretty
like,
broke.
I'm like, but you tour. Like, don't you make any money off these albums that you release? And it just went really dark and deep. But he kept answering all my questions. I would have knocked me
So
out.
George, serious question. How many hours ago before the interview did your medication wear off?
I wasn't on medication back then.
explains
This was
everything.
well before medication.
Okay.
Pre-medication George was.
I did not start taking medication until like 2006.
Right.
This was it was a very dark interview. It will be going up on cultofgeorge.com tomorrow. But again, that's a little more Joy Killer. But like, there are questions in there. I'm like, what is TSOL? TSOL is the True Sounds of Liberty, and they formed back in the early '80s. It was formed with who was it? Ron Emery, who was also in the Joy Killer, and some other guys whose names I'm blanking on right now. But
Mike Roach and Todd Barnes, who died about 4 or 5 years ago.
yeah, they released a first EP, which they just did to get out of the way. It was on. It was on what record label? It was on some somewhat major label, not major.
Posh Boy?
Posh Boy, which was also where.
I could be wrong.
No, it was, and that's where like Youth Brigade and Social D
Social
started
Distortion.
out. Yeah, when they started out, and they released this EP of political songs that was okay. It was a little more, I don't know, every generic political band at the time.
It was all right.
And-
It wasn't that great.
And then they moved on to release Dance With Me.
Which is arguably one of the most important horror punk albums ever.
Ken, what are your thoughts on Dance With Me?
Well, I only own one TSO album.
And it's Revenge
please
in
tell me.
today.
Changed Today.
Change Today. I
It's
love that album.
That's a fantastic album. I picked it up
And
recently.
it's only, I've known T.S.O.L for ages, but it's only been until recently and that I've actually been investing in listening to their catalog. So I listened to Dance With Me a little bit earlier today. I would say it totally deserves, this band totally deserves to be in the canon.
So, Josh, why do you feel you brought this to us? What are your thoughts on Dance With Me?
Okay, so Dance
Because
With...
I will go in deep on their influence on the Offspring later.
Oh, well, the Offspring completely... The first two Offspring albums are just...
T.S.O.L. ripoff
Yeah,
albums.
without any question. So Dance With Me, I think, is important for a lot of reasons. It is, without question, a quintessential Southern California punk rock album. Thematically, it's talking about depression, suicide, stuff that a lot of Southern California punk rockers talk about. It's just like Mommy's Little Monster. They weren't just talking about politics. They were talking about life in suburbia and being miserable. Speaking of suburbia, they were in Suburbia. The movie by Penelope Spheris, who put T.S.O.L in the movie after seeing them while she was filming Decline of Western Civilization. So they have that pedigree. The album came out in August of 1981, predating Walk Among Us by the Misfits, which, I mean, unquestionably canon and unquestionably helped found the idea of horror punk. This predates that. It predates... the only Misfits albums that came out before this were the Horror Business EP, Bullet EP, and Cough Cool. Those are the only things that came out before.
And it's possible
That's still a lot of Misfits,
But it's
though.
possible that they also didn't hear it, though. I don't know how far those traveled back.
I don't know how far they travel, and you're absolutely right.
It's a lot of Misfits.
Yes, and I'm not saying that they influenced the Misfits, but I'm saying that this album is just as influential as anything the Misfits did.
Well, it's going to be a tough versus episode when we do Walk Among Us versus American Psycho.
No, it's not. No, it's not. That is an easy discussion.
Are we inviting you back for that one?
You don't need to have anybody back. I mean, I'll come, but I'll just say listen to any two songs from the two albums. But we're not talking about that.
So there was some confusion in fans of Southern California punk rock back then, where there was, well, T.S.O.L came out with this very political charged EP, and then they came out with this like goth punk, horror punk album. I'd say most of Dance With Me is dark.
It's thematically really dark. It is. I mean, they're talking about Dracula. They're talking about. There's one song that is the title track, "Dance With Me." It's like a fever dream about horror. It is nothing that they're singing about is nice or pleasant, but it's all still within that punk rock genre. Even when they bend that genre a little bit, which is something that they continue to do. Every album they put out was different. It was weird. They were constantly changing, which is the most punk rock thing you could do.
What Jack Grisham said was, he actually said that it wasn't like they changed their style, but they recorded all those songs, the first EP and the first album at the same time. But we're like, okay, let's take all this like punk rock crap, give it to Posh Boys so we can get that out of the way, and then go take the stuff we really want to do, which was the darker Code Blue, Dance With Me stuff, and record Dance With Me for the record. Was it Frontier, I believe? I think it was on Frontier Records. I think Epitaph bought the Frontier stuff, and that's where we finally got it in late 1996, along with Suicidal Tendencies and Adolescence. And a bunch of other
It was
albums.
released by Frontier in 1981.
Yeah, so that was. I think it's really a beautiful album. I think of it the same way as I think of The Damned as compared to the other contemporaries at the time.
I've kind of, it's funny because I have like a slightly different view on it. Like I do agree with Josh in a lot of ways, lyrically, thematically. That said, I mean, for me, I first found them with the Return of the Living Dead soundtrack. That was my first, because probably the greatest punk rock soundtrack of all time. It was Nothing for You on the Return of the Living Dead soundtrack.
But that's from Change Today. That's with a different singer.
Right, but that was my entrance into the band. So it was a little bit of a culture shock for me when I went in there and listening to Dance With Me. I was like, it didn't really compute. That said, like I've always viewed them as kind of the poor man's Misfits, because they did sing about horror. They did sing about like monsters and Dracula and like fucking the dead. That said, I just always felt like the Misfits did it better. So I went back and I listened to this record again today incessantly, and I think they ended up doing better stuff later on, maybe with a different singer, but definitely this to me, this doesn't seem like the record of theirs that I would put in the punk rock canon. Like, it's a very young band, place and time album, but not really up to par with.
I don't disagree with that.
I hate The Offspring. I just want to repeat that again. I do not like The Offspring.
I think you're insane. I think Dance With Me is by far musically leaps and bounds way ahead of what was out at the time. The first Bad Religion album, The Adolescents, like Dance With Me had textures and different, like it wasn't a straight ahead punk rock album.
I shoot that right down with X. X was around the same time. X was
not the same type
leaps,
of. I don't think
Leaps and Bounds a better band.
X was a rock and roll blues band that happened to hang out with a bunch of punk rockers.
Yeah, I would not say that they were
I don't
part
know,
of
man. That first X record was.
It was punk rock, but I actually would put Dance With Me above Los Angeles.
You are a madman.
But I would not put it up against some of the later X stuff that they did afterwards, like Wild Gift and some.
See, after that first X record, they did do a lot more rock and roll stuff. But if we're talking about 1981, right around that time, for me, it was X.
What T.S.O.L? We're not comparing X here. We're talking about T.S.O.L.
We were at you. I was just riffing on what you were just saying about.
I just think that this album,
musical ability.
I agree with what you're saying, that it does sound very much of the time and the place, and that's because it helped define the sound of that time and that place. If you don't have this album, you don't have The Offspring, you don't have AFI, you don't have Alkaline Trio, and you could question the merits of those three bands, and that's fair, but you can't question the influence of this album.
Or Jack Grisham in general. I mean...
former gubernatorial candidate.
Right, but
you've read his book, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
He's a special person.
I have an autographed copy.
See, at the same time, though, I would argue that Agent Orange, they started doing this in 1979. They had a whole 2-year jump on this sound.
You're right.
But then they released one album, and they peaked with that.
And they sound...
Still, that album today holds up, I think, better than Cold Blue. I mean, Dance With Me.
Did that album create a subgenre of the musical style?
I would absolutely argue it.
I mean, it was what it was.
Bringing surf into punk rock, absolutely Agent Orange is...
See, I can't argue that
the
much.
Dead Kennedys did that too.
The Dead Kennedys did far better as well.
And much more influentially and successfully.
So I would dare say that if you look at the most influential of the three, it would definitely be the Dead Kennedys over Agent Orange, and it would be Dead Kennedys, Agent Orange, T.S.O.L.
But that's not the question.
That's not the question at all.
I know it's not the question, but
that's the wrong answer.
It's just the wrong answer because they don't agree with me, Ken. The fact of the matter is, you're talking about who did it first, who started it. Well, Agent Orange did the surf thing. They did
but Agent Orange didn't sound anything like T.S.O.L. They're not apples to apples. Neither is X to T.S.O.L.
Right.
Like, I think T.S.O.L. is more compared to their contemporaries, like The Adolescents, like Bad Religion, like even Suicidal Tendencies, even though it's not really. But that first album, all those frontier bands sounded very similar.
And one of the things that they did that not even musically is influential is that their album is really varied in the types of songs that they have. It's not just straightforward, fast California punk rock. It's not. They have much slower songs, much more down tempo that are just as creepy. You have Jack Grisham coming out in all white makeup, which he did to piss people off, but influenced, American goth. Do you have Leaders of the New Church without this band? You don't.
It's the Damned. It's always it'll always come back to the Damned.
But the Damned weren't doing goth in 1981.
Still, Dave Vaney. You're talking about like white face paint and makeup. Dave Vaney was doing that in the 70s.
I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about.
And he actually was more influenced by Adam Ant with that, not Dave Vaney. I'm not arguing. I'm just saying, like, that's where you got it from. I would cite a great quote from the punk rock. Was it punk rock? The Hardcore Chronicles. What was that book? The American Hardcore.
American Hardcore. By Stephen Blush.
This is, Jack Grisham saying, we dug up some graves, but we dug up graves even before the first record. All that crap, like breaking into mortuaries, we've done that before. Look at the first T.S.O.L. record. It thanks the church PA. We've been busting into churches and desecrating the altars. We'd steal the PA and spray paint the altars.
That said,
Misfits.
I'm very reticent.
Pyro, Sid Vicious' grave. It happened already.
I do question anytime any sort of musician is being interviewed and talks about all the crazy things they did. That can't be verified.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great self-promotion.
So, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Do you think it should be in the canon? Do you think T.S.O.L's Dance With Me should be in the punk rock canon?
Without question.
Hambone?
No.
Ken?
Sure.
I'm a yes.
All right.
So we'll see how it does. We're going to put this up on Facebook. We're going to put it on today, later tonight. You'll have a week to chime in. Let us know what you think, and we'll see if we finally get an album into the punk rock canon, because this is going to be much fun if we can't get anything into it.
Well, I think that's it's going to be so rewarding when we finally do, because I feel like people are just going to keep swatting us down.
So we got to stop right now. We're at the halfway point of the episode. We need to do a commercial for Zotz, and then we got to sign off on Facebook Live, because we are only sponsoring... Zotz only sponsored the punk rock canon.
Yeah, they didn't even want the intro.
So for all of you out there, this is our little ad for Zotz, the amazing candy that explodes in your mouth. And today we brought a Zot Virgin with us.
Yes, you did.
We need you to dip your hand into the bowl of Zotz.
I got one already.
Reach into that cooch. You grab it, you pull out the Zot. Pick a favorite. Pick one you like. Pick a Zot that you want in your mouth.
Get it in there. Go deep.
Go deep. Go deep. You got it. You stuck all like
no,
6
that
inches in.
that was no good.
No, it's a shaky one.
Look at him shaking the Zots.
There, that's a good Zot.
That's a good
So
Zot.
we need you to slowly unwrap it.
He's making sure it's not
Peel
pre-exploded.
peel it back.
I'll make this look good.
So Zots are the hard candy that explode
Is
in
it
your
supposed
mouth.
to look like this?
What do you mean? It's a little melted. It's okay. They sent them all the way from the 70s. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Does it look like it like the
Put it in your
cocaine
mouth.
came out?
Put it in your mouth.
Now, lick those holes.
Is that one okay?
Yeah, it's
Put it
okay.
in.
I don't know. Just stick it in your mouth.
Stick it in.
Stick it in
and
your
lick
mouth.
those holes.
Lick those holes. Now start licking it. What does it feel like, Josh? Tell us what your Zot feels like.
Like orange battery acid. I mean, it's delicious.
Is it so? Lick the holes on the side. It's possible that might be a bad Zot. We might have to like crunch it and then go into deep. But don't do it yet. Don't lick a little bit. Let's feel it.
If you bite down on it, it'll foam up in your mouth.
Yes. So a Zot is kind of like a cross
It's just
between
like all
Pop
over your
Rocks.
face. Look at him. You've been zotted.
A Zot is kind of like a cross between Pop Rocks and a Warhead. It is. It starts off sweet and then it explodes all over your mouth, like
Oh my
all in
God.
it. Like you can't like keep the excitement from like exploding into the back of your throat. It's almost like a sweet and salty.
It was like college again.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's like pixie sticks for like. Oh my God! You just washed it down with beer.
Dude, your
That's a terrible
stomach's
idea.
going to explode. It's the same thing as Pop Rocks and Coke.
That's a
That
horrible
is
idea.
the worst idea I've ever said. Zots does not encourage drinking and zotting.
That wasn't bad.
No. So
Cocaine
did
for
it
your
fit?
tongue.
I think you need to do one more Zot. I think you need one more Zot. Can shake it, make sure it's clear. You just did an orange. You want to do another orange?
No.
No, try the blue raspberry.
Blue raspberry's
I
good.
don't like blue raspberry.
Strawberry is delightful.
All right, try.
It's
That's a blue
watermelon or cherry.
Do the
There is
watermelon's good.
strawberry.
I'm going
Tasted like strawberry to me. It was exploding in my mouth, Ken.
Okay, shake it. Make sure it's not popped already.
It was all over your lips.
No, it's good. It's good. Solid.
All right,
All right,
I'm going
open
for
it up.
green.
Slowly peel it back. Slowly peel it back. You don't want it to get loose in there.
Sensual.
You don't want to like get.
Oh,
Any...
this looks much better.
Oh, you see that? Okay, so that's a full
Oh,
one.
the other one.
So is
Zotted.
that the hole
That's
you're
good.
talking about?
There it
Yeah.
is.
The two holes on the side?
Oh,
so
yeah.
Put it in
So
your mouth.
put my tongue in there?
Put it in your mouth and start licking.
Yeah, you
Start licking.
gotta move it around in your mouth so you can cover both holes.
And how's that feel? How's that feel? Don't break it. Do not bite into it. It's going to take a few seconds.
But if you do bite into it, it's a whole different experience.
But it's not the right experience. You need to feel the fizz.
It's like a fountain.
You need to feel the pre-zot. Like as it slowly comes out of the holes.
This is an interesting food.
Yes. So these were invented in the 70s by Oppenheimer, who later also previously created the atom bomb. After the atom bomb, he really had nothing else to do, so he created Zots. Zots are...
I'm going with it.
They're spelt Stas backwards, and
I'm changing the Wikipedia as we speak.
and they were made as a weapon. You could weaponize these. Lick the holes, lick the side of the hole. Are you starting to feel it? Are you starting to feel it explode in your mouth?
Not
It's a
yet.
slow
I feel like I'm
explode.
immune to
It's
Zot.
not just like a full blown
No,
like
you'll
jizz.
know.
It's like
It's
you
like-
know a
It's like a rocket ship.
yeah. It'll just explode.
I feel like my tongue just isn't doing a good job.
No, slowly.
And I
you're
think I
not-
need to get
it-
pristine
it
like a
take-
card.
It takes a second. You guys can go right now to Zots.com, which for some reason is not an active site anymore. It looks like it was never registered
Well,
ever.
they spent all the money giving out the sweet camera, so
And-
they
and-
didn't pay the internet bill.
But are you feeling anything?
I'm
yet?
literally tonguing the hole of the Zot.
Tongue the hole. I wonder if the hole's blown already. I wonder if it blew its load already in your mouth. This might be like a long episode. We might have to do another Zot later. We're going to move on to
Maybe
talk
have
about...
to bite one.
Oh, shit.
He went all in.
Wow.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, it's like you didn't even like... You didn't even work it. You kind of just like... That's not fair. It didn't...
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my god. Look at all the foam. Look at all the foam coming from his mouth.
Josh, this you've missed what we've been alluding to the entire time. Zox is the candy that requires foreplay.
It needs a little bit more loving than you're willing to give. It's not. It's not Aziz Azan or whatever his name is. Like it needs a little more. It needs a little more foreplay before. I'm
gonna go for another one.
We're gonna go and talk about our strangest and worst concert experiences now.
Yes. Now you've been on tour many times, Hamlet, so you've probably seen. We need to shut off. Actually, we should. All right, we're going to turn off our live 360 feed because our Zot's ad is now over and the Punk Rock Canon is over. You guys should download the full episode, Mai Tai Happy Hour, at MaiTaiTV.com, on iOS, on Android. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe. We love you guys so much.
Zots.
Aloha.